For millions of people, the New Testament is one of the most foundational books ever written. But here's something wild to think about. Almost nobody reads it in the language it was actually written in. So we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit and take a peek into the world of Koine Greek, the original language of the New Testament authors.
And this quote from the preface of a Greek textbook, man, it really gets to the heart of what we're doing today. See, it's not just about learning some new language. It's about getting closer to the source, about uncovering these incredible layers of meaning, and feeling that jolt of excitement when you see a familiar text in a whole new way.
I get it. It can feel like this huge, impossible leap, right? But honestly, it's way more doable than you'd think. So let's break it down step by step and see exactly how the language works and why bridging that gap is so revealing.
All right, so where do you even begin this journey, from a modern translation all the way back to the ancient text? Well, it's the same as any language, really. You start with the alphabet. And yeah, it might look a little intimidating at first, but as you're about to see, it's a lot more familiar than you might expect.
Okay, take a look at this chart. You're going to recognize way more than you think. I mean, look at the first two letters, alpha and beta. Put them together, what do you get? Alphabet. You've seen delta from fraternities, pi from math class, and omega, as the end of something. All of a sudden, it doesn't look so foreign, does it? It's just a code, and we're already starting to crack it. And here's how that actually works in practice. Take the Greek word on the left. You can actually see the letters we're learning. There's a theta, an epsilon, an omicron, and a sigma. String them together and you can sound it out. Theos, which is the word for God. There it is, a direct phonetic link. Once you know the alphabet, you can start reading the words.
So, okay, letters are one thing, but here's the real mind bender when it comes to learning New Testament Greek. It's realizing it's not just swapping out English words for Greek ones. It's about a completely different way of thinking about things, especially when it comes to actions and verbs. All right, so the key concept here is something called aspect. See, in English, we're obsessed with time. Was it in the past? Is it happening now? Or is it in the future? Greek, on the other hand, is way more interested in the kind of action. It's all about how the speaker chooses to frame it. And that adds this layer of nuance that honestly often gets totally lost in translation. So Greek basically gives the author 3 different cameras to film an action. They can describe it as an ongoing process using the durative aspect. Think of it like a video camera that's still rolling. Or they can use the aoristic aspect to treat it like a single snapshot. Boom, the action happened, as one complete event. And finally, there's the resultative aspect, which focuses on the state that exists because the action is done and dusted. Okay, let's make this super practical. Your English Bible might just say, he taught. Simple enough, right? But the Greek author had a choice. Did they want to show him in the process of teaching, like a continuous action, or did they just want to state it as a single completed fact? He taught, full stop. That choice, which is completely invisible in English, adds a really powerful shade of meaning. And this whole idea of meaning being baked right into the word itself, well, it doesn't just apply to actions. It's also true for nouns, the people, the places, the things in a sentence. Let's take a look at how Greek builds meaning, block by block. Check this out. So in English, word order is everything. The dog bit the man is totally different from the man bit the dog. But in Greek, a word's job in the sentence is shown by its ending. Look at this chart for logos, or word. The one at the top with the OS ending, that's the subject doing the action. But the one at the bottom with the on ending, that's the object, the one being acted on. So you could scramble the sentence and you'd still know who did the biting, just by looking at the word's ending. How cool is that? Okay, so we've got the alphabet, these verb aspects, and nouns that change their endings. But how does this all add up to actually, reading the original text? Is it even possible? And I love this quote from the textbook's preface because it's so realistic. The point isn't to become some genius scholar overnight. The point is that even a basic grasp of the structure gives you a powerful starting point for a much deeper connection to the text. And this right here is probably the most encouraging thing you're going to hear. This is what makes it all feel possible. If you learn fewer than 300 of the most common words in the New Testament, you can recognize over 70% of the entire text. 70! That is just wild.
So what does that actually mean? It means this isn't about memorizing a giant dictionary with thousands and thousands of words. It's all about understanding the system, the alphabet, the verb aspects, the noun cases.
Once you get the keys to that underlying structure, the huge majority of the text just opens right up for you.
So, we've had this quick peek behind the curtain. What's the real reward here? Why even bother with all this? Well, what it unlocks is a totally different level of appreciation. You start to see the nuances, right? That difference between a continuous action and a snapshot action. You really understand why a sentence is built the way it is. It just gives you this more direct connection, letting you see all those little shades of meaning that translators have to make really tough choices about.
And that really just leaves you with this one big question. Once you know that there are all these layers of meaning, all these authorial choices just hiding in plain sight, in a text you thought you knew inside and out, you kind of have to ask yourself, what other treasures are still waiting there to be discovered?